Welcome to EVTN News, everyone. I am your host, John the Son of Thunder, and we're going to talk about this week's news. I was just adding some news stories just a short time ago, and so we have old news, we have new news, and let's get started. So, what would you do if there was a crocodile hanging in your church? Until June 4th, a large crocodile was hanging in the baptistry of San Giovanni Battista Church in Cremona. I believe that would be Italy. This figure was created by Maurizio Catalan in 2019 and is called Ego. Catalan explained that the crocodiles are protagonists of rituals, religions, magical beliefs, and urban legends. Cremona Diocese considers the exhibition of Ego in the baptistry a courageous choice, calling Catalan one of the most appreciated and controversial artists in the art world. So, yeah, the crocodile is a religious symbol? Really? Okay. So there's a crocodile hanging in a church. Seems kind of random and pointless, and I think that's exactly what it is. Is how it seems, but to these modernists, you could call it that. These modernists, they think that a crocodile is inspiring, and it's protagonists of magical beliefs. Do they believe in magic? Because it doesn't seem like they believe in the Catholic faith. Alright, at Pentecost, Wisconsin Catholics wanted to attend Mass in union with the Paris Chartres, is that how you say it? Probably not. Pilgrims. That's the traditional pilgrimage in France. However, the Basilica of Our Lady, Help of Christians in Erin, Wisconsin, turned them down, so they improvised a chapel in a barn. It looks more Catholic than a number of Novus Ordo churches. So you can take a look. Gloria TV posted the photos, and the link is in the description of this video. Take a look, see what you think. See how Catholic it looks. It looks, it was like a makeshift barn chapel, but it looks actually kind of nice. And of course, they have an altar rail. How many Novus Ordo churches can say that? The Diocese of Las Vegas, Nevada was elevated Tuesday to become a metropolitan see, with the dioceses of Reno and Salt Lake City as suffragan dioceses. The Archdiocese of Las Vegas, along with the dioceses of Reno and Salt Lake City, were previously part of the metropolitan province of San Francisco. So, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what I think about that. I'm not sure if I have a real opinion on that. Like every diocese and archdiocese, I don't know. I know the Francis Church rails against clericalism, but then when it comes to the Latin Mass, they're the most clericalist you could think of. The Francis Church discourages laws, but then when it comes to the Latin Mass, they strongly enforce the unjust laws that they release. So it's kind of the Francis Church is an interesting bit of contradictions when it comes to the Catholic faith, I guess you could say. Alright, I've talked before about the dissident group, the Association of U.S. Catholic Priests. I've talked about them quite a bit. They support women's ordination. So they have replaced their keynote speaker, Cardinal Tagle, believe it or not, of the Philippines, who had to cancel his participation in the 12th Annual Assembly that takes place from June 12th to 15th at the University of San Diego, with the university theology professor who claims... So they replaced Cardinal Tagle with a university theology professor who claims to be married to another man. Why did Cardinal Tagle sign up to begin with? How how were they able to book him, and why did he sign up for this? Unless he actually supports married priests and all kinds of uh, sinful lifestyles, anti-Catholic ideas. Replacing Cardinal Tagle is Dr. Brian Flanagan, Associate Professor of Theology at Marymount University and President of the College Theology Society. Dr. Flanagan openly admits that he is married to another man and boasts of his affectionate LMNOP activities, publicly broadcasts his LMNOP activism, his socialist leanings, and even blasphemous images of both Jesus and Mary. Apparently, celibacy is optional if a priest is attracted to men. Oh. What do they call that? Saying the quiet part out loud. Speaking of which, I was pretty angry last week. I mean, I just feel like I've been pretty angry recently, but after seeing all of these rotten, completely compromised priests that are promoting the LMNOP lifestyle, how can you not be angry? I guess, I don't know. It might be best to stay off of Twitter, but I gotta do it for now. Gotta get you the news, right? I have some news that comes directly from Twitter, so I have to. Of course, if you logged on to Canon 212, the website canon212.com, he browses Twitter, so you don't have to. So that might be an option eventually, but that'll be once I end this EVTN series. But until then, I'm just going to keep doing it and bring you the news. Alright, most of you probably tuned in for the SSPX stuff. Archdiocese of Kansas City, Matt Gaspers of Catholic Family News, wrote to the Archdiocese of Kansas City. Here is what he wrote. Regarding an official position, here are a few specific questions. Does Archbishop Naumann consider the members of the SSPX to be schismatic? If yes, on what grounds? Does Archbishop Naumann hold that Catholics may fulfill their Sunday and Holy Day obligation by attending a Mass offered by an SSPX priest? If no, on what grounds? Does Archbishop ever grant faculties to SSPX priests to witness Catholic marriages in accordance with the Pontifical Commission Ecclesia Dei's 2017 letter? Here is the response. While regrettably the Church and the SSPX are not currently in full communion, the Archdiocese does not consider the SSPX to be schismatic. There you go. While canonically one may fulfill one's obligation to participate at Holy Mass on Sundays and Holy Days of Obligation by attending an SSPX Mass, the Masses are not licitly offered by priests possessing the grant of priestly faculties from the Archdiocese. Therefore, participation in SSPX Masses to satisfy one's Sunday obligation is discouraged, but it does fulfill it. And if they don't possess the faculties, what's stopping the Archdiocese from granting the faculties? That's a good question. The Archdiocese does, in support of Pope Francis' pastoral outlook as expressed in the 2017 letter, grant SSPX priests the faculty to witness marriages when the priest requests it. The Archdiocese understands that at this time, the SSPX priests in St. Mary's request faculties to witness all marriages at the Immaculata. Whoa! Okay. So, there you go. Seems like the relationship between the SSPX and the Archdiocese could use a little bit of, it could be built a little bit stronger, but it seems like there is a relationship that exists. And they're not schismatic, and it fulfills your obligation. And that comes at a really inconvenient time for the Archdiocese, because I'm going to tie these two stories together. This next story, the SSPX, okay, so let me just say this. The SSPX exists in the Archdiocese of Kansas City. If you go to the Novus Ordo in the Archdiocese of Kansas City, Archbishop Joseph Naumann noted in a May 31st letter obtained by the Pillar, It has recently been reported by 2 priests having served in 3 different parishes that upon their appointment to these parishes, they soon discovered the long-term use of wines that were in fact invalid matter for the confection of the Eucharist. So literally invalid masses took place at these parishes for as long as the former priests were there. They were all invalid. Alright, so as a result, he wrote, in those parishes for any number of years all masses were invalid, and therefore the intentions for which those masses were offered were not satisfied, including the obligation pastors have to offer the Mass for the people. This is a gravely serious situation for which we must now petition the Holy See for guidance on restorative matters. Canon and liturgical law stipulate that wine produced only from grapes can be used for the Eucharistic sacrifice. Okay, so going back to the previous story, the SSPX fulfill one's obligation. Attending the Novus Ordo in the Archdiocese of Kansas City, you may not have fulfilled your obligation for the Sunday obligation. Wow. And these I mean, you have to synthesize these 2 stories together. Unbelievable. I mean, this is. So why wouldn't you attend the SSPX if you're nearby in the Archdiocese of Kansas City? There's no reason not to. They even said it was okay. All right. Getting to the story of Bishop Olson. The Vatican Dicastery for Religious Orders has appointed Fort Worth's Bishop Michael Olson to act as the pontifical commissary of the Carmelite Monastery, which has filed a lawsuit against the bishop over his investigation of its superior. So he had banned them, and then they appointed him the whatever commissary, basically the judge. So so they appealed to, I believe the nuns. I think the nuns sued him. I don't know if they appealed to Rome or not, but Rome, there's a conflict between the bishop and the nuns, and so the Rome appoints the bishop in conflict to remedy the situation. So there you go. By appointing him to this role, the dicastery recognized and acknowledged that Bishop Olson has been and continues to be entrusted with full governing responsibility for the monastery. So that was interesting, and people, and this is just one situation where the pillar actually tries to turn public opinion against someone. They do that. You got to be careful. The pillar, they really, really let their opinions shine through on a lot of things, and it's not good. It's not unbiased at all. It's just straight up biased reporting, what you'd get with a lot of the fake news media. But in this situation, they turned public opinion against Bishop Olson. However, apparently the superior of the nuns, the religious order, admitted to having an affair with a priest. So if that's the case, shouldn't she be dismissed? She's certainly not fit to be the superior of a religious order, if that's the case. And, Bishop Olson released that information. People said, oh, that's, whatever, slander, whatever you would say, calumny, whatever. But is it true? But this is one thing where I want to let this situation play out. Because Bishop Olson, he doesn't seem to have a great reputation, but at the same time, is what he's saying is true or not, right? If it's true, then I believe he's justified. Because if you look at the law exists to serve the people. But it's almost like, what would you say? If you walk across, if you're waiting at a traffic light, if you're a pedestrian waiting in a traffic light, and the sign says don't walk, but there's no cars coming and it hasn't changed for 5 minutes, are you going to walk across the street? The law, will you be arrested or given a citation for walking across the street with no cars coming in 5 minutes, just standing there? I don't know. I mean, the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law, I think that's what you debate. And was he justified in doing this? We'll find out. Let the situation play it out. Let the situation play itself out. See what happens. That's my opinion on it. I'm sure you guys are entitled to your own opinions, but that's my opinion. All right, this is great. This next story is fantastic. There's so many good stories today. I'm really excited to talk about all this stuff. Sometimes, there's not a lot of stories, and I just do a quick video, but I still have a bunch more stuff coming up, and there's really some hard-hitting stories here. San Francisco Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone on Friday expressed his gratitude and appreciation for priests who found creative ways to circumvent lockdown orders in order to offer Mass and provide the Holy Eucharist to Catholics during the height of the virus response. During a May 26 FSSP ordination Mass, Cordileone said, "I know that many of you who are priests of the priestly fraternity found ways to celebrate Mass for your people, even clandestinely. I am grateful to you for that and proud of you for doing so." There you go. That's a great story. It's good to see that there are people on our side. Great. Okay. Archbishop Georg Ganswein, age 66, so he's 9 years from the mandatory retirement age of a bishop. The acting prefect of the papal household, so he was Benedict's personal secretary, will have to leave Rome within 4 weeks by July 1st. He will retire without an office in Freiburg, Germany, which is his diocese, his original diocese. Ganswein was informed of his future by Francis at the audience on May 19th. Freiburg Archdiocese told the publication that released this information that it knew nothing about this. So he's a bishop without any job. He's fired. So he's forced into an early retirement, a very early retirement, 9 years early. Is he going to be happy to kick back and just relax and enjoy retirement? Or is he going to get fired up and release some information? I'm sure he has a lot of dirt on everything. I think he already released information that said Benedict was really disappointed by the Latin Mass crackdowns. But, this is his punishment for that. But does he have more information? I'm sure he does. But is he going to release it? That's the question. I would lean towards not. I would lean towards him not releasing it. If he does, prove me wrong, right? Of course, he's probably not watching this channel. So, if he proves me wrong, he'll have no idea. Okay. Oh, and this is what I was complaining about earlier. Jarek Pachaki, OMI, he's a priest. He doesn't list father in his title on Twitter. He's a vocations director of the Oblates of Mary Immaculate of Ottawa, Canada. He posted some rotten filth on Twitter, taunting Catholics. There's a picture that said, "Wishing all the homophobes a super uncomfortable month." And he took a lot of pushback. He deleted the tweet and then he reposted it. And he said, haha, shoved it in our face. Shoved it in our faces. But I do have to say this. If you're a vocations director who's posting LMNOP stuff, what does that say about your religious order? Who is he trying to recruit? Do we have another Theodore McCarrick? But consent is a modern virtue. And so McCarrick the only thing that he did wrong was, according to some of these people, I would guess, they think the only thing he did wrong was not get their consent. But that's just what these people believe. It's the LMNOP religion, the religion of LMNOP. They worship LMNOP. It has nothing to do with the Catholic faith. How can they undermine the Catholic faith? Problem is, they're ordained. There's a network. It still exists. The McCarrick Network is alive and well in the United States and worldwide. Supich and Tobin, Vigano says Supich and Tobin were promoted by McCarrick, because of McCarrick, and they have very powerful positions in Rome. They decide the bishops. They decide who the new bishops are. This disgusting filth just continues. All right, and some of you may have seen the rumors on Twitter that there was a rumor going around that SSPX bishops were going to be ordained this month. New SSPX bishops. Now, the anniversary of the original ordinations of the 4 SSPX bishops is, well, the date was June 30th, 1988. June 30th is this month, so people speculated that would be the date when the new bishops were ordained. However, there was an article posted on the SSPX website that talked about fake news and how this story was fake news. So I would go by that. It was published by Jean-Michel Glise, professor of apologetics, ecclesiology, and theology at the SSPX seminary in Switzerland. He published this commentary about unfounded rumors and their possible motives. So they shared this story. Now, they didn't outright deny it, but it's basically says fake news. It said, above all, do not spread tall tales. Yeah. So that's their response. They posted it on their website. Does that mean it won't happen? No. But based on this information, I mean, I don't expect them to mislead people so much so that they're basically reposting an article on their website saying it's fake news. I don't expect them to be that, disingenuous, I think would be the term. All right, wow, lots of people commenting on the live chat. Sacred Heart Procession Time. Modern art is often satanic in its surreal mockery of natural law. We thought it was a dance competition. Who thought? Let me go back here. I don't know. Oh yeah, Cardinal Tagle. As an aging boomer, I resent these aging boomers trying to take the church down. Okay. If we look like everybody else, we are not attracting those looking for the signs of godliness. We are following a general into battle. Is Gower, Missouri, part of the Archdiocese of Kansas City? Not sure. Maybe someone can answer it. Thinking of Sister Wilhelmina. Should James Martin still have faculties? No. No, actually, any priests promoting the LMNOP lifestyle should be suspended immediately. A good bishop would do that. Also, I don't think I posted the Diocese of Pittsburgh. There is a married deacon who is on the diocese's website. He promoted an LMNOP mass. Now, Bishop Zubik responded quickly because there were a lot of people that posted on Twitter, and I'm sure the chancery got a lot of calls. And he said, I never gave approval for this, and so you shouldn't say the mass. So there you go. That's pretty much what he can do as a bishop, aside from locking the people out of the church. But most bishops are just going to say, all right, we trust that you won't do this. And then if they do, then who knows what will happen? Probably nothing. But a good bishop would have suspended this married deacon on the spot. He would have suspended him and said, you're not promoting the Catholic faith, and you're therefore suspended. Was he suspended? I don't think so. We are divided from our Novus Ordo brethren. No point persisting in denial. Trads look, think, and live differently. Martin's BFFs with Bergoglio. They go clubbing. They're both very sick puppies. Soup Witch and Tobin. Oh, two very dangerous vipers. Compare and contrast Sister Wilhelmina's values with nuns who followed the modernists. The bus nuns. The nuns on the bus. They take government money and promote government values. How much respect do nuns without habits get? Well, how do you know they're even nuns? I mean, and they promote LMNOP. Some of them promote LMNOP stuff. So, I mean, you know, they're not going to have children. But, so how do you know what? I don't know. Gower, Missouri is in the Diocese of Kansas City, St. Joseph. Missouri. Okay, so I think Nauman is Kansas City, Kansas. And Kansas City, St. Joseph of Missouri is a different diocese, I believe. I think that's true. That's the problem with these live videos, is that I don't always confirm what I say, but take my word for it, or do your own research and see if it's right. Yeah, Kansas City. It's funny. Missouri's biggest cities are right on the edges of their state's borders, so a lot of it. I think some of the cities kind of overlap. Kansas City is an interesting one. Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas. They kind of, there's a lot of population on either side. I don't know that St. Louis is exactly like that, but, you know, it's just what it is. The Archdiocese of Kansas City, Kansas is in Kansas, yes. My stomach turns even thinking of participating in a sort of worship service. Well, and I'm not here to tell you where to go. But I think the facts are the facts. That's what's interesting about this story, is if you went until these priests were transferred to Kansas City, to these parishes in Kansas City that brought up the possibility of invalid masses. So let's say a year ago, let's just say they were transferred there less than a year ago. So a year ago, if you went to the SSPX Masses, then those would have fulfilled your obligation. If you went to the Novus Ordo, it would not have. Objectively, from what the Archdiocese said. It's not even personal opinion at this point. That's what I'm saying here. That's what I'm saying here, people. Like, and then if you look, okay, so what about, and going a step further, what about baptisms? So I don't know, like the Vatican didn't say, oh, they say like, what is the SSPX status? Like, what does they say about their status? Like imperfect communion, oh, I don't know. I forget. But, you know, they don't have they don't have faculties, per se, to administer the sacrament of baptism. But if you look at the Archdiocese of Detroit has said that there were some invalid baptisms in the Archdiocese. And so if you go to the Novus Ordo, there's no guarantee that those baptisms will even be valid. At the very least, the SSPX baptisms could be valid but not licit, potentially, although if you look at divine law, maybe that would be different. So you're safer getting the sacraments at the SSPX church. Objectively. And that's not my opinion. That's what's so crazy about this whole situation, is that now we're finding out, yeah, what I've been saying for the past several years, I've just been kind of saying it, but now it's being confirmed by archbishops. So that's where we're at. That's what we're dealing with here. Okay, this past Sunday was the Sunday of the Holy Trinity. So Corpus Christi is technically on Thursday. but at some Latin Mass parishes, I think they're celebrating it on Sunday. That really depends. Really depends what you're going with. But that's this time of year. June is the month of the Sacred Heart. And have you noticed the pressure? The pressure that's being put on these LMNOP, these organizations promoting LMNOP. It seems like the pressure is more intense than before to take that stuff down. People don't want groomers. They don't want their children, yeah, they don't want their children to be what society wants them to be. And what do we mean by society? Is it really unpopular to have that kind of nonsense promoted? But hey, we have a practicing Catholic president. He can do whatever he wants and he's fine. And he should get communion too, right, Pope Francis? Pathetic. All right, everyone. Well, let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. This has been EVTN News. Until next time, we are the laity, and we will not be silent.